All right.
Hey,
Hey.
it's another Water Cooler Wednesday.
Yes, it is. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's
Welcome.
Water Cooler Wednesday, and my name is Dion Branch with EXP Realty.
And I am Lisa J. Williams White, LJWW, the house money mama with Nexa Mortgage, brokering for you.
All right. So we're here today. We wanted to talk about what's on the market. I did want to make a comment though on that on how calming the music was when we were coming in. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
To help you
actually,
kind of decompress from your day a little bit.
I know, right? So,
Just a
and I'm
little
sure
bit.
there's a lot of people out here 6 o'clock, kind of trying to wind down. So this
Yes.
is a good
Trying to
time to
wind down.
just try to sit back and listen to what we have to say about the market today.
So does
So
that mean I need to put my social worker voice on now?
yes.
Not gonna happen. I'm still excited from my work day today. I'm not done. I got more stuff to do after we finish with this. So, gotta keep
No,
that energy up, y'all. Keep it up. Keep
right,
it up. Keep it up.
right. Let's get those closings. Woo, woo.
Right.
All right. So what's the market? What's happening on the market?
Hmm.
So, whew, Lisa, I heard some things was happening with the rates. I mean, I don't know. You
You
wanna
did?
start
Girl,
there?
hush your mouth. Somebody said something about
Rates, girl. Heard about the rates.
rates.
Right.
Yes, it's a lot to say about race. So, we kind of talked about this a little bit last year. Actually, at the end of the year, we did well, even before the end of the year, we talked about it a little bit. So, the old saying is what goes up must come down. It actually goes in reverse too. So,
Right.
what goes down is going to come back up as well. Everything in the market is what I call cyclic, which basically means it goes in a cycle, one big giant circle all the time. So, that's why people are able to predict things and say what they anticipate would happen. Really, they're just good historians. I'm not a great historian myself, but I know a lot
Hmm.
of people that are. So anyway, they kind of predict things because they can see cycles, that take place in the market. So one of those cycles that we're in right now, we're kind of coming off of that great season that we had where we had extremely historically low interest rates. We're coming off of that now. Since late last year, we have been seeing rates do a steady climb. It would kind of go up, then go down, then go up, then go down, then go up, then go down. Now we've kind of settled on a place that's a little bit higher than what we were last year. I'm trying to think what was the last interest rate that I locked. Um, the last rate that I locked, what I'm doing now is I'm actually looking at some of the pre-approvals that I have out for people because the interest rate that I anticipated being able to lock them in at is going to be a little higher now. It's not going to be the same as what
Yeah.
I initially thought. So, like for example, I have someone that last year when I gave them their pre-approval, I anticipated being able to lock them at 3.5% and give them a credit at 3.5%. Well, in order for them to get a credit now, they probably have to be more like around 4%. And it's not going to be as robust of a credit as what it would have been at the 3.5% last year because the changes in the market, changes in
Right.
interest rates, and how much it's costing to lend money now, how much is being charged for that. So interest rates are definitely on the rise. They're still low when you keep it in context. For example, when I first started in mortgage in what was it like '07, '08, like I started like right around as soon as I started, everything crashed.
Oh Jesus.
Like starting my life, okay? Take on a new venture and then everything goes. So
Right.
anyway, um, so when I started though, I remember that interest rates, the typical interest rate was 8%. If you
Hmm.
got like a 6% interest rate, you were doing good. You got a great deal. But
Right.
considering how things used to be, 4% is still not a bad interest rate.
Right.
So
Right.
it's still a good time to buy, still a good time to refinance, especially if you have one of those interest rates that's 4.75 or higher, because there are still some people that are out there that have that kind of a high interest rate. We can still get you probably in the threes, maybe at a four, probably worst case scenario, depending on your credit. Where so that way you can still see a difference in your monthly payment if you do refinance, and you can still get a decent monthly payment if you're purchasing. So
Mhm.
just kind of a heads up on that.
Right.
These rates are going up.
Right. So yeah, so the rates are definitely going up. We're hearing. So
Yeah.
everyone, there was lots of buyers that was out here because the rates were so low. So let's see, what happens this year as things change. Like Lisa said, still kind of um low because we've seen people with higher rates and stuff. So
And
uh,
even right now, so I do get leads sometimes, and some of those leads will show that we have people that have interest rates that are, 5.5. Some I've even seen at 6%. And that's probably because there are some down payment assistance programs where they have a higher interest rate like that. In order for them to give you the money, they also give you a higher rate. So people that have programs like that, or some kind of a situation where they got those higher interest rates for whatever reason, then it would be good for you to look at refinancing if your rate is higher. I would say if you're over like 4.625 or higher, then I would say you want to look at doing a
doing
refinance for rate
refinance.
term.
Right.
Or even if you say, for example, if you have, a rate that's in the fours, but you want to consolidate, it's still a good time to consolidate because it's a big difference than, for example, say if you have your vehicle and maybe you're paying 10-12% interest rate on your automobile. Well, 4.5% is still a lot lower than 10 to 12%, you know,
Right. Right.
on the vehicle. So I mean, if you refinance and paid off debt, it still would help you to save overall because the money that you would be, the interest rate that you would be paying would be much, much lower than if you kept it in a 10, 12, or I know some people that have, 25% on their interest rate for a vehicle and credit cards and things. So
Yeah.
even looking at doing something like that is still a good idea.
Okay. Now, for me, one of the things that I wanted to share with was a lot of people are think that January, February is not, the time to look at houses, right? But
What they
it's
think.
definitely our homes out here which are for sale. So there's a lot, there's some homes with that have investor homes. So it's not like there's any one particular type of home. But the difference about looking now compared to March, April, May, June, once the season, true season starts, is that a lot of people are still trying to figure out if they could get a credit, right? So when we were in a seller's market during the summertime,
Yeah.
I definitely, advise no, let's not try to ask for credit towards closing. Let's not try to ask for, some of these different things. But although we are still in a seller's market, so a seller's market means that there's like 3 months or less of inventory that's available. So houses are staying on the market a lot less time,
Yeah.
but there are still some deals out here that you could possibly take advantage of. So whereas maybe you don't have all of your down payment, we can ask for a credit because there's not hundreds of buyers out trying to look right now.
Right. We're not getting 30 offers now for one house
Right, for one
because
house.
that was happening.
Yeah,
Seriously,
right.
that was
And
happening.
everybody's bidding way over asking. So there's still some, opportunity. Now, if it's a really nice house, yes, there's probably people still calling highest
Multiple
and
offers.
best and
Yeah.
putting multiple off, receiving multiple offers, but it's not like we said, 30 people. Definitely not, um,
Right.
so it's definitely, I would actually say it might be a better time to look than to wait. right? So where a lot of people are like, oh no, I'll just wait until June, or this is a good time to go ahead and start. You possibly could, you know, basically not be in competition with the world.
Right. Yeah. Because in
Mhm.
June, the market is going to be way more saturated with people.
Mhm.
Um, and it may not be way more saturated with inventory
Right.
because we are still in a position where we have a housing shortage that we haven't really come out of that. Um, but we don't have as many people that are out there looking right now. And that's traditional for this area. Like if this was California, they
Oh
probably
yeah.
still got the same amount of people, I guess, because just because of weather, year round they have nice weather. So people still go out, they still look. But here, traditionally, the market is going to slow down a little bit, like sometimes December. I would say December, January, February, and then it picks
Mhm.
back up in March.
In
But
March,
that's
right?
also the time when I've seen people get the best deals or have, the least amount, like how you were saying, Dion, have the least amount of competition because you don't have as many people out. So, like right now, we have a couple of contracts where people have $5,000. We got one who's about to close either Friday or Monday. I'm hoping Friday. He's got an $8,000 credit
Yeah.
from the seller on
Yeah.
his home. So I mean,
Yeah. One of the
it's getting
ladies in
done.
my team, we got a offer accepted with a $10,000 credit.
Good
Now
deal,
that's not the norm.
right?
But
Right?
it
It's
had
not
but we do but it was accepted. So just so you know that this is a good time. There's still some good inventory of property out here available for you. So if you're just kind of waiting, maybe not wait. I'm waiting so that I can get some more money in order, towards my closing. You might not need that money because maybe we can ask for a credit
right.
or something.
Have the seller credit instead.
Right.
Yep,
hmm
absolutely.
And then if your score is good enough, then there's also other programs or things that Lisa can do in order to kind of help you along. So,
Yeah,
right.
so we are still able to do lender credit sometimes. If your score is up high enough, then we should have some room to give you a slightly higher interest rate. And but with that slightly higher interest rate, then we also would be able to give you a credit toward closing to be able to help bring those costs down for you. Now, here's something a bit of good news because we don't want to do all gloom and doom, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
I do have a lender right now. Just found out about this today, where they are actually doing free appraisals. So if you come in, you get your contract and everything, and if you close with this particular lender, they're actually covering the cost of your appraisal up to $600. So I thought
Okay.
that was really good. It's one of the things that as brokers, we try to do as many things as possible to kind of advocate for the customer to be able to get them the best. I don't want to say best deal possible, but make the parameters as good for them as possible. We have a little bit more flexibility with the way that we're able to do business. So
Yeah.
just kind of throwing that out there that we do definitely have it where we can pay for your appraisal. So that's an awesome, that saves you. And if it was $50, it's still
Right. Yeah,
it's still good. You don't have to
definitely
pay it,
has a
somebody else is paying it for you. So yay.
right. Right. Any credit is a good credit, right?
That's right.
Mhm. So
So
I
that's
know,
good.
right. One other question that's kind of out there too is will the market crash? Right. We're still
Mhm.
waiting. People are still waiting. I'm gonna wait because the market's gonna crash. Yeah.
So what do you think? Hey, Facebook user, I don't know who that is.
Right. Hey. Right.
How you doing?
Right.
So market crash. Um so I'm assuming that what they're because if they're saying the market crash, what they're probably looking at is the influx of the hey Sonia.
Right.
They're probably looking to see if it's going to be the influx of houses that are going into foreclosure. Do you think that's what they're talking about?
Yes, I think so. A lot of people are waiting for um definitely that a lot of houses are going to go into foreclosure, and so then they're thinking that they're going to, they could get a deal. We do know that a lot of
Hey,
people
Maurice.
have. Right. Hey, Maurice.
Hey,
Right.
y'all. I peeped here tonight. Y'all showing up.
Right. So we do know that a lot of properties, have people haven't been able to pay their mortgage
Yeah.
based off of COVID, and there are some programs and some loan modification programs, things like that
Yeah.
are out there to help, but even what I would say to you is, if you are falling into that situation, don't wait until your house is taken. Right? Let's discuss. Let's put the house on the market. If you have some equity, let's get you some equity, not just walk away.
Right.
Yeah, so and speak to your lender. There's a lot of different programs that the lenders are offering right now that could possibly help that as well. So don't just wait. So and let your
Yeah.
property
And
go.
that's even without the programs that the government has put into place for this time in particular, any lender is always going to have a loss mitigation department. And that department is responsible for doing the very things that we're talking about. Like loan modifications are not anything new. Mortgage companies have always been able to do them. So if that's
Hmm.
something where you may be able to fit into that category where you fit that criteria and you can get a loan mod, then by all means, you should go ahead and do it. A principal reduction is ideal, but even if they don't do that, a lot of times they'll extend out your mortgage. They'll take like a portion of the principal and defer it for so many years, things like that. Keep in mind, these are all things that are really kind of designed to help you catch up. Sometimes they're good in the long run, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they work for right now, and that's what you need, something to work for right now so you can continue to stay in your home. It's real important, though, if you do look at a loan modification, have it explained to you, or maybe even have somebody who might be in the legal profession, or even possibly just somebody who's in the mortgage profession, like myself, to look at that documentation with you, so that you fully understand what you're getting yourself into. Who does that? I think NACA does it. Or you may be able to do what's that other thing? Like when they do legal aid and stuff, you may be able to
Oh
do
yeah.
something like that too, where they can
Hmm.
help you look over documents. Because I'll tell you, personally, I have had family members that came to me after they did a loan modification. Oh, I did this. And I'm like, well, you do know you have a balloon payment in X amount of years for, $200,000. You
Right.
know that, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. Well, what do you think this is? It says balloon payment. A balloon payment means that this lump sum of money is going to come due all at one time. Normally, when you think of a mortgage, you think of payments that you make on a monthly basis. A balloon payment means that there's, for example, this is not an exaggeration, $200,000 is due on this person's mortgage at a certain date in 2035, I think it was for hers. But so if she's not able to pay that, then she will lose the house,
Yeah.
in 2035. So again, you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. If you do look at a loan modification, don't just trust that the lender is going to do everything to look out for your benefit. They're really looking out for theirs.
Yes.
They
Yep.
always keep that in mind. Lenders are not your friends when it comes to servicing, and they, at the end of the day, they want that money.
They want
So
their money back. Right. So
yes, they
right.
want to make sure it's going to get paid, and if you
Right.
don't pay it, then they want to have some kind of other avenue to be able to collect. Because at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want that money paid. So they're always going to look out for their interests, just like attorneys. I remember I went through a divorce, more than one, but one of the divorces I went through, I do remember. I remember she would always put in her letter to me, and I knew this lady personally, but she would always put in her letter, please keep in mind, I always represent such and such a person's interest. That person's my client, because I didn't have an attorney, but she was doing all the paperwork, and he had employed her. So, but that's how it is with lenders too. They're always going to look out for their interests. Not that they're trying to do anything against you, but they're
Right.
always going to put their interests first. So you have
Right.
to keep that in mind. And you can't, cry ignorant, or say I didn't know, it's your responsibility to look at that paperwork and make sure you understand it the best way that you can. So
Yeah.
just kind of a word of caution on that. That's really, really important. I'm saying that not only as a lender, but just as a person who has seen family members and people that I know and love that have
Mm-hmm.
gotten themselves into these situations. And then, they come and I got to help them try to figure out how to get out of it,
Got it. Right.
So,
And then that's where, even when you find yourself in that situation, you can sell your house first, before there's such things as a short sale.
yep.
Say for instance, you purchased your house when the house was very high on the market, which is probably like a lot of houses in last year, right? They purchased a house and say for instance, that the value of the homes go down in the next couple of years, then
Yeah.
they can find themselves, was it over, was it underwater, right? Right. Right. So right. So
Right. Underwater.
right, underwater. So you would,
Yeah.
then you might need a short sale or something like that. But right now, if you had purchased in the past, the market is
Yeah.
actually really
Right.
good,
Yeah.
right?
Right now
Right,
we at the height of the market. The
out
values
of the
have gone
market,
up so
right?
much.
So
Yeah.
if it's something you might be able to even just walk away with 10, $20,000, something, it depends on the price of your home, but
Right.
gives you a little money that you could walk away with instead of saying, I'm just waiting for them to come and kick me out, right?
Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot of, and there's people like the whole point of this is to say there's people waiting, right? There's people waiting for that to happen. And they're thinking, oh, we're going to get these homes with at a low price. And
Hmm.
based off of the market, it may not be what we saw in the past years. That is not
Right.
guaranteed that that's actually gonna even happen.
Right.
But
I think it's tough to say right now what's going to happen with the market as far as the foreclosures go.
mhm,
Unquestionably they're going to come in. There's going to be an influx. I don't think it's going to be as big as what we initially had anticipated at the onset of the pandemic, because we kind of forecasted out a couple of years that once these foreclosures hit the market, it would be a lot of them. But really a lot of people had taken advantage of some of the programs that were made available, and those programs had extensive parameters, in order to be able to handle these different situations for people being able to get caught up. They did some new things like the typical loss mitigation procedures. They had more than that. They
yeah,
expanded those programs out. So you have more people that were able to qualify. And because it was constantly being thrown into the media and stuff like that, you have more people that knew and understood that there were options that were available to them. So people, they flocked in to the lenders and they took advantage of these things. So we are still going to get an influx, no question about it. Because the fact of the matter is, in this season, things have definitely changed.
yeah,
People changed jobs, they changed careers, they may not be working, it's a lot of
mhm.
different situations that to
That's
take into
happening right now.
consideration.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. People have
Yep.
been
But we
affected
still gonna
definitely.
see them come in. It's just I don't think it's gonna be as many as what we initially anticipated. So some of those people, when they're talking about a quote unquote crash, they may see some of what they're expecting to see, but I don't think it's going to be on that magnitude as what was initially anticipated and expected.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I know we kind of getting to the end of the program. It's already 6:25. I'm looking at the time. So I do want to just also mention that for those who are looking, so sometimes people, there are restrictions, as far as like loan amounts and things like that go. So just something to keep in mind, that we did still have some changes that happened for 2022. One of those things would be for the loan amounts changes. So like now, where before I think we're three, I forgot it now.
Well,
368 was the single family limit on FHA for 2021. So now we're all the way at 420,680 for this area in particular. FHA does have loan limits, and those loan limits cannot be exceeded if you're going to use FHA financing. So now you have a little bit more room,
yeah,
which is good because obviously with the values going up, it makes sense that the loan amount caps would also go up, so they can kind of keep up with the market. So
Mhm.
if you're out there looking, you won't say, "Oh man, I can't. I've got FHA financing, and I can't buy this house because it's out of the limit." Because if it's out of the
Right.
limit, that means now you have to put more money down in order to get it back to where it's actually supposed to be. So that's not an issue because we do have some higher loan limits now. So things like that would also be able to help out a little bit in the market if you're looking.
Okay.
Um,
And so before people used to have to get a jumbo loan, but now they don't. They could just go ahead and get the FHA. So what's the max price for the FHA loan right now, you said?
So for this area, for the Chicagoland area, Chicago, Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin, that area is kind of all grouped together. So the single family limit is 420,660. Actually, I think that's 680. If you're buying a duplex, like a two flat or something, they're at 538, 650. And a 3 unit would be $651,050. And then a fourplex would be 809, 150.
Okay.
So they went up a bit. They definitely went up a bit. Excuse me.
All right. We'll
And
put
of
a
course, people that are purchasing a home that they would buy, buy like a multi-unit or something like that, we can still use anticipated rent in order to help you qualify. Because I know we have a lot of people out that are, they kind of getting the real estate investment bug going on. They want to try it out. And a really good way to do that, we've talked about it before on a couple of our episodes when we discussed these things as far as real estate investment. But that's a good way to start. If you start off with a place where you live there in one of the units, and then you buy a multi-family building as opposed to, trying to do single family homes and get so many doors, you can actually live in the unit. And then, like, say, for example, if you got a fourplex, like what I was talking about, then a fourplex, you can have 3 other units that you would be able to rent out, and we can use the anticipated rent from those units to help you qualify. So
Yeah.
you might think, oh man, I can't afford to buy a 4 unit because I got to make $100,000. No, you don't. You just got to buy in the place where the rent makes sense, so we can use that rent, and that rent helps you qualify. That's all you got to
Right. Yeah.
do.
4 units are a little harder to find, but they are out there.
Well, I
So,
mean, even a two flat or a three flat though, really, and those are all over for city of Chicago. But even
oh
those,
yeah.
you can still use the anticipated rent from those other units as well. So,
Oh yeah. Right.
mhm.
Definitely. And then, maybe live in the basement, rent the other units out, fix the basement up. So
So
there's
as a lender, I cannot agree with that.
why not? If I fix the basement unit up, okay, we're not gonna talk that. We're gonna give me
Dion
a
over here
call.
trying to get me in trouble. They out there telling people they can go and fix up a unit
Fix the basement.
and live in
All
one
right.
that's not really a unit. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
That's Dion saying that. I ain't said that.
I ain't said either. We'll talk off
Okay.
camera. All right.
Yes, you wanna live in a unit that is a legal, livable unit per your lender and realtor. Just so
Yeah.
you know. Now, we can't control what you do. They ain't gonna send nobody in black suits to your house or nothing like that. But I'm just saying, our parameters are that it needs to be a legally, whatever the amount of units, it needs to be legal 3 unit, legal 4 unit, legal, 2 unit, whatever.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for sticking it out with us today. We try to give you the best information we can.
Yep.
Um, so it's another Wednesday. We're gonna
Water Cooler Wednesday. We're gonna put together a jingle. Y'all can
right,
help us do a jingle so we can have some music playing. We come on, do our little dance and
right,
have our water coolers and everything.
right.
We
We
need to do
need
that.
you all. Right. Is there some creative people out there? Make us some music. Let us know you
Yeah.
out there. So we can have us an intro
Mhm.
and an exit. So all right, but we
You're all
thank
right.
you for joining us. We're happy we see you next week. All right. Bye.